All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is March 11th. We got ourselves a Saturday jam-packed with some NBA basketball. We're gonna jump into each and every game. I'll give you my lean. We'll talk about the game, but as always, guys, my final plays, those will be in the pinned comment. If you do want to see what I'm riding with tonight, what I'm actually going to be rolling with, make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment. I update that throughout the day. But yeah, on this channel, we jump into each and every game, like I said, and we talk about it. We go over where my lean is when it comes to the spread and it comes to the total. So yeah, buckle up. We got a bunch of games to jump into. Last night, we go 1-2 record-wise, which ain't that great. It is 1-1 money-wise because the two losses were a half unit play each. We split the money line and the Wizards plus 1.5, just you know, I guess a sprinkle a half unit on each. So money-wise, it's more of a 1-1 type situation. But for the record purposes, it does stink that they were two different plays. So we go 1-2. We did hit finally the Cavs and the Heat over. That was a little sketchy one, but they did end up hitting the over there. So yeah, let's take that win. Let's take the momentum from that win into tonight. Let's forget about the Wizards, the little spellcasters over there letting us down last night. Let's take the win from the over and carry that win into today. That's the vibe that we're picking up here, guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video. You guys are still absolutely going crazy on the likes. I think we had 300 plus likes in yesterday's video, which you guys are psychos. You're just psychos. In fact, psycho alert alarm from the sound drop there. Guys, you guys are crazy. Keep hitting that like button. I cannot thank you guys enough, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. Let's jump into the first game here. We got the Clippers taking on the Knicks. Clippers at home, 5-point favorites here. Total sitting at 227.5. Jalen Brunson is already downgraded to out in this game for the Knicks here. Clippers, no major injuries to note here. New York coming off of 2 straight losses to Charlotte and then Sacramento. Sacramento, they were dogs in that game. I think it was a closing line at like 2 or 3. But they still lose that game by 6 points, or I think it was 5 points, actually. Clippers coming off of 2 straight wins, beating Memphis in a high-scoring game, and then covering a couple nights ago against Toronto here, 108-100. That being said, I do think that this Knicks team has what it takes to stick with this Clippers team. Jalen Brunson being out is a big deal for me, but I am still going to lean Knicks here. I think that Brunson being downgraded to out might be the thing that kind of keeps me off this game from an official play standpoint, but I am going to lean Knicks here plus the 5 points. And in terms of the total, I like the over. I think this one could get up into the 230s here, so I'm going to lean towards the Knicks in this one and the over. Moving on, we got the Hornets taking on the Jazz here. Hornets, 2.5-point dogs at home. Total 231 right now. Last time these two teams played was late January. Utah won 122-102. They're 9-point favorites. They obviously covered there, but they haven't been playing that great here in the last 10 games. 5-5 against the spread, kind of mediocre. Whereas Charlotte, somehow, some way, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games. 7-3, and at home in their last 6, 4-2 against the spread. Now it's probably because they're getting big numbers here. Charlotte, their last few games, they've had 10 points, 8 points, 10.5 points, 7-point spreads that they, you know, are getting a decent amount of juice here. So I will say that that's most likely one of the reasons why they're playing so well against the spread. I don't think 2.5 points is enough to say, hey, like, you're getting a lot of points, you're going to cover this game. So I'm going to lean towards Utah in this one here. I know they are on the road. They haven't been playing as well. Jordan Clarkson is questionable, but I don't really trust Charlotte to, you know, I guess perform at a level of, you know, 2.5 points, keep it that close type of thing. No, I think this Utah team is slightly better, at least more than 3 points better. So I'm going to lean Utah here plus the 3 points. In terms of the total, 231, I really wanted to look at the over in this one. In fact, I do think it's going to stick right around that number, but after crunching the numbers and looking into it deeper, I am going to lean under here. I think this sticks right in probably the higher 220, so I'm going to lean towards the under. All right, moving on, we got Miami taking on Orlando. They're playing for that Florida championship. Yeah, that's what they're playing for. Magic here, 2.5-point dogs at home. Total is 220.5. In their last time meeting here was mid-February. Orlando lost that one. They're 1.5-point dogs. They lost at home, 107-103. They played earlier in the year as well. Late January, Miami also won that game, 110-105. But Orlando were 8.5-point dogs, so they did ultimately cover that one. So Miami has won both meetings here, yet the against the spread for these two teams is just 1-1. Miami's still struggling. We've talked about it. They're 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. On the road, 1-3 in their last 4 against the spread. But Orlando, the thing that puzzles me is that Orlando, yes, they were on a streak against the spread, probably like a month ago or so, but now they're just playing like dog, you know what, 0-5 in the last 5 games against the spread here. So as much as this Miami team has been inconsistent, against the spread, they finally started to win some games. They beat Atlanta twice, lost to Cleveland by just a few points, and then beat Cleveland again. So they're kind of turning a corner here. I think 2.5 points is definitely doable for them. So I'm going to lean towards Miami here, minus the points. And in terms of the total, I'm probably going to be crazy for leaning this way, but I'm going to lean Miami and the over here. I do think that this is a game that probably can get mid 220s, and that's not because I'm saying that Orlando is going to score a bunch of points or anything like that. I'm saying that because Orlando's defense is just absolutely terrible. We saw Miami against a Cleveland team last night, go out there and scored nearly 120 points, 119. Against an Orlando team, that should be in the 120s easily, and once they do that, they are on their way to the over here. So I think that's going to be a mix of Miami being able to score easily and Orlando letting them do that a lot. Moving on, we got Detroit taking on the Pacers here. Detroit 5.5 point dogs. Total right now at 229 in this one. A lot of injuries on the Indiana side of things. TJ McConnell, Miles Turner, and Tyrese Halliburton all questionable here. And Benedict Mathurin is downgraded to out for Detroit. They have a really long injury report too. Bojan Bogdanovic is out. Alec Burks is out. Hamidou Diallo, he's been out for all season, I believe. Jaden Ivey is out. And then Isaiah Stewart is still out here. But Marvin Bagley been upgraded to probable. I just think that this Detroit team has kind of given up. They haven't won a game in God knows how long, right? At least 10 straight games straight up when it comes to they're against the spread. They are 2-4 against the spread in their last 6. I think this one's a pretty easy lean towards Indiana, but because of all those injuries, I doubt this becomes a final play. Who knows who's playing in any of the games? Seems like a lot of teams when they play Detroit, they're like, oh, let's make up an injury for some of these guys so they can sit. I'm not saying the Pacers are doing that. Obviously, we have actually seen these guys on the injury report a couple times in the last few days. But I do think that, Detroit's almost like in a position now where teams are going to say we don't need our best guys to beat that team. So I'm going to lean towards Indiana, but I doubt it becomes a final play in this one. I also do like the over, as weird as that is. I just think that, when you have a bunch of guys injured, a bunch of guys out, they're not going to be that lockdown defense or anything like that. So I'm going to lean towards the Indiana and the over in this game. Guys, before we get to the rest of the plays here, I do want to talk to you guys about Jock Market. I talked to you guys about them yesterday. It is a really, really cool app. It's pretty much a stock exchange for sports and for players. You can buy players based on their value prior to the game and then trade them mid-game, and then at the end of the night, whoever has the most value in their order history or in their wallet wins the tournament and can win some cash. I played it a few nights ago, free entry, and ended up winning a few bucks on it, just based on what I invested in, how I sold guys when they started playing bad, or investing in a guy early like De'Aaron Fox was ruled out, so I loaded up on Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter had a crazy night. I think I bought him for like 2 chips a share, right? And I bought 20 shares of him or so, and then it ended up being worth 10 plus by the end of the night. So definitely go check it out. That's what makes them unique. They also have the normal sort of pick 'em game, just like Prize Picks and Thrive Fantasy and Underdog and stuff, where you can pick a couple different props, more or less, that type of thing. The more you hit, the more you win. So make sure to check them out, guys. That link is going to be in the description. If you do put money in, use that code GuyBoston. They're going to match your deposit 100%. Definitely go check it out. I wouldn't be pushing some to you guys if I didn't actually think it was a cool, unique thing. And I think this is a very cool and unique app. But let's keep the train going here. We're moving on to my Boston Celtics taking on Atlanta. Atlanta 4.5 point dogs. I know the graphic says 5, but 4.5 point dogs on most sportsbooks now, so we'll use that number. Total at 236.5. Last time these two teams played was in November. Boston won 126-101. That was the only meeting of the season. In the last 10, Boston 5-5 against spread. Atlanta 4-6 against spread in the last 10. Obviously, coming off of that win last night against Washington, we were on the wrong side of the tracks there. In terms of injuries, Marcus Smart probable, and Robert Williams out for Boston. Then Atlanta has no major injuries. They are on a back-to-back, so we've seen crazier things in the NBA where guys get sat and whatnot, but I don't think Atlanta's going to be sitting guys just because they're on a back-to-back playing a good team like Boston here. I think that this is a pretty doable spread for the Celtics. Now, maybe I'm a little biased. Maybe, but 4.5 points. Again, I know this says 5, but 4.5 points is the updated spread right now. I do think that the Celtics have what it takes to beat this Atlanta team. They match up really well against them and have in the past as well. So I'm going to lean Celtics here. And in terms of a total, 236.5. I like the under. I think that this is going to be a game where the Celtics kind of make it hard for Atlanta to score, and I don't think the Celtics are going to go out there and score 120 points. In fact, in 4 of their last 5 games, they've scored 115 or 117 or less. So they're not the Boston Celtics that were scoring 125, 130 towards the beginning/middle of the year. They're kind of going more towards a lower score total here. So I think this under is a pretty decent opportunity. Moving on, we got Memphis taking on the Mavericks here. Memphis 5.5 point favorites at home. Total sitting at 224 right now. Last time these two teams played here was in October. Memphis lost that game by a bazillion points. Dallas 137, Memphis 96 was the final score. And then Dallas also won by 13 points back in January as well. So they definitely have Memphis' number. In terms of injuries, we saw that Kyrie Irving is out for a while. He's actually questionable in this game, but Luka Doncic is downgraded to out. Now, Memphis barely has anyone playing either, right? Or not, I shouldn't say barely anyone, but Ja Morant is out for suspension and whatnot, so I don't know exactly where we come out on this game. You have two teams that, yes, they have superstar talent, but that superstar talent just isn't seeming like they're going to play. So in terms of this game, I am probably going to chalk away the spread pick. I don't really have a lean for you guys. I apologize for that. But in terms of a total, I don't mind the over 224 in this one. I just don't think with these injuries, there's a point to trust either side of it. So apologies on not having a lean for you guys, but I'm punting this game away. If you do have a play, let me know in the comments for sure. Moving on, we got the Rockets taking on the Bulls. Rockets 7.5 point dogs at home. Total 224.5 right now. Last time these two teams played is the day after Christmas. Houston won 133 to 118. 7.5 points isn't enough to give this Rockets team, but for whatever reason, I think I'm going to lean towards the Rockets here. When I say for whatever reason, this Rockets team actually has been obviously a tough team, but I don't think the Bulls have been much better in their last 10 games or even dating back, a little bit further than that. So 7.5 points, I wish that we were getting more. Like I said, I don't think this is enough to really make this a smart play, but this Bulls team hasn't really proved much as of late. They did come off a win against Denver. I think they were dogs. They won that game outright. So maybe you prove that, but they're barely beating teams like Detroit and whatnot. They're kind of just in a rut right now. So I'm going to lean Houston plus the 7.5 points. Does it become a final play? We'll see. Make sure you keep an eye on the pinned comment for that one. In terms of a total here, 224.5. I also like the over. All right, Pelicans taking on the Thunder. Pelicans 2-point favorites at home. Total 233 in this one. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not on the injury report, which is good news for New Orleans here, though. Brandon Ingram left last game. He's questionable in this one here. OKC coming off of a loss against Phoenix. I think we lean towards OKC in that one, and that didn't really work out. It wasn't a final play, but they did win 3 straight games prior to that, one of which they were dogs against Golden State. They win that game 137 to 128. I don't really see why the Pelicans are favored in this game, so I'm going to lean OKC plus the points here. I wish this was probably, I think it opened up a little bit higher than that. I might have my notes wrong here, but I think it opened up at like 4 or something like that. I wish we'd got it then, but I still like it at +2 here. I'm going to lean OKC. And in terms of the total, 233, I think this OKC team has kind of been screwing us when it comes to taking unders, but I am going to lean under. All right, a couple more games on the slate. We got the Warriors taking on the Bucks. Warriors 1-point favorites. Both these teams should be relatively healthy. Giannis is questionable, but I doubt he misses this type of a game. And then for Golden State, Andrew Wiggins is still out here for personal reasons. Golden State coming off of 3 straight losses to LA, OKC, and Memphis. Not the best showing from them, especially since Steph Curry coming back. Milwaukee has won 9 of their last 10 games. In their last 10 against the spread, they're 5-3-2, and on the road they're playing really well. 3-0-1 in their last 4 games. I'm going to lean Milwaukee here. I know that Golden State, this would be a big game, and they might get up for it. And, Clay and Steph, sort of a pseudo finals preview in a sense, right? If Golden State can get there and if Milwaukee hangs on. But I do think Milwaukee is the more dominant team right now, and I expect them to kind of wear down Golden State. So this has got to find a decent chance of becoming a final play. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. In terms of a total, 240.5, I think, like I just said, if this is going to have sort of a playoff environment, which I anticipate it might, I think that this stays a little bit lower than that line, probably right in the mid 230s, early 230s. All right, last game on the slate, we got Sacramento taking on Phoenix here. Phoenix 3-point favorites at home, total 241. These two teams played mid-February. I think it was actually Valentine's Day. And Phoenix gave a nice little kiss on the cheek to Sacramento. They won 120 to 109 in their last 10. Phoenix 6-2-2 against spread at home in their last 4, 2-1-1. This Kings team, we know we call them the covering Kings. I do think they're very good. I think they're a very good cover team, but I think this Phoenix team is starting to figure some things out here. They've won 4 straight games. The competition, I'm not going to give too much credit there, but Kevin Durant isn't playing tonight. That is worth noting, but I do think that this Phoenix team is figuring some things out. I'm going to lean towards Phoenix here, minus the points. Then in terms of the total, 241, just slightly too high for me to be interested, so I'm going to lean towards the under. And that is all I have for you guys to say. Make sure to keep an eye on the comment. Like I said a bunch of times in this video, that is where my final plays will be. But I hope you guys do have a great weekend. We'll catch you back here tomorrow. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.